Hi folks, I'm Ed Talley with Talley Real Estate, and today I'd like to talk to you a little bit about buyer's representation in a real estate transaction in Texas. A lot of people don't know that they have the right to be represented when they're buying a home, and certainly should. A lot of people also don't know that when you call a listing broker, the person who has the home you may be interested in for sale, they represent the owner of the home and the owner's best interests. So it certainly behooves you to have your representation as well. I'll give you an example of something that happens quite often. People may be looking online to, get a short list of homes to go look at when they're interested in buying. So they find a couple and they call the listing agent. That's a natural thing to do, is to call the listing agent. Well, in that scenario, the listing agent is supposed to tell the potential buyer immediately that they do represent the seller. This doesn't always happen. And let me tell you why they should tell them that. Because if they don't, an excited potential buyer may begin to talk to the listing agent about the property and begin to discuss their qualifications, what they've done with their lender, how much money they have in the bank, their total budget, what they're willing to spend, and that sort of information. And the owner's agent or the listing agent now has to take that information back to the seller. It's their duty. So you've just put yourself at a possible disadvantage in a negotiation if you end up negotiating on that home. So that is definitely a scenario where a buyer's agent can save you money and make the negotiating process quite a bit easier. The other thing I see a lot is I think folks think that buyer's representation costs them money out of pocket. Man, we're stretching our budget to buy this home and we just don't have any more left over to pay a buyer's agent. Well, guess what? You don't have to worry about that, folks. Buyer's representation is free, and here's how it works. The listing broker pays the buyer's agent when the transaction closes out of the commissions they've earned for selling the home. So it doesn't cost you a thing. I can't see one good reason in the world why you wouldn't have a buyer's agent. It's free to you, and you're going to be getting some great advice from a real estate professional. A couple things to look for when you're hiring a buyer's agent. I would say you definitely want to go with a local agent. We all have friends, family, acquaintances in real estate, but you don't want to hire your cousin from Dallas to represent you in a real estate transaction in Austin or Houston. They may be a great realtor in Dallas, but they don't know the local market. You need an agent that knows the local market, understands our local market, and is a member of the local board of realtors. Being a member of the local board gives them access to our local multiple listing service, and this is the tool that we use when we're helping you buy a home. The MLS helps us show you recently sold homes in the neighborhood you're buying in, and helps us determine a fair price for the home. It also helps us determine if the home is way overpriced. So I would say shopping for a local buyer's rep is very, very important. The other thing I would concentrate on is find yourself a full-time realtor. We've got a lot of people in our industry that are good people, but they're not full-time agents. And when you're not a full-time agent, I think sometimes you're obviously not going to know as much as a full-time agent who practices real estate for a living 24/7. Okay? They're going to know a lot more about the market and how to conduct a transaction from contract to close. The third thing to consider when hiring a buyer's agent is make sure they are familiar with the area that you'd like to buy in. It only makes sense. A lot of these cities, we're in big cities in some of these Texas towns, and if you want to buy a property in South Austin and you're talking to an agent in North Austin, he or she may not know that neighborhood that well. Try to find someone, if you can, who knows the local area, local part of town you're trying to buy in. They're going to have a lot more knowledge of neighborhoods, school districts, any municipal projects that may or may not be going on that could affect the value of your potential home. So I think it's always good to hire someone in the local area if possible. Now, in Texas, we have what's called an information about brokerage services form. This is a one-page form that each realtor is supposed to give their potential client upon their first substantive meeting. And this form simply explains and breaks down everything about representation in a real estate transaction. If you'd like a copy of it, please just shoot me an email or give me a call and I'll be glad to email you one. Okay, I hope this has been helpful and informative to you. Please check back periodically for other topics of interest in real estate, and we'd be glad to help. Also, feel free to contact us anytime through email or check our website, tallyrealestate.com. Thanks a lot.